Welcome to Jamie TV and thank you for tuning in. This thing that I hold in my hand is not in fact a mini disc player, if any of you are actually old enough to remember the mini discman, but it is about the same size as one and looks like one, but it's a lot lighter though and a lot less expensive. I still have one actually in a drawer somewhere in here.
Stay on target. Stay on target.
So this is the Synido LiveDock Pro. It's an audio interface, it's a streaming interface, and has rather a lot of features in a very small amount of real estate. My hands, by the way, are tiny, so just bear that in mind when you're assessing how big it's not. I'm going to show you what comes in the box with it, and then we'll have a look at how it works, see how good it sounds, and then I'll give you my thoughts on it. Let's take off the lid. Okay, so under the quick start guide, there's the LiveDock Pro itself. Its Sunday name seems to be the LiveDock A20 audio adapter, according to the box, but I've been asked to refer to it as the LiveDock Pro. There's the Synido Certificate of Authenticity. There's a stereo mini jack cable that comes in Synido's signature orange and an adapter to convert one end of the cable to a 1/4 inch jack. And there's a thing. I think the thing is for feeding through here to do this thing with. And now it's a keyring. Tucked very neatly into the side of the interface is the cable that you would plug into your device. Whilst the instructions say that this device works with iOS, Android, Mac and Windows, I feel that it is aimed very much at the Android and more recent iOS devices because this cable is not detachable. It's possible maybe there's an adapter that would convert USB-C to USB-A, but there isn't one included in the box, which makes me think that Synido are not expecting to corner that market. As there isn't such an adapter included and I don't have one, I will not be able to test this device with my PC, and I won't be able to check whether it works plugged in to the powered hub I use for iOS devices. You can buy adapters that convert USB-C to Lightning though, and this device does work on a Lightning device with such an adapter. But again, I don't have one. Let's plug it into my M1 iPad because it's the only iOS device that I have that is USB-C. The iPad will power the LiveDock Pro no problem, but I can plug my iPad's charger cable in here so that I can keep the iPad's battery charged up. Headphones go in here, but I'm going to plug in a cable that I'm taking to another device to record on so that in my demo, you're hearing what I would be hearing in my headphones. If I press this Bluetooth switch, my iPhone will be able to see and connect to the LiveDock. I can play music from my phone and control the volume of it with the phone. The master volume for the LiveDock is here in the center. If I open up AUM here on my iPad and add an audio channel, I'll go to add an audio input and you'll see that we have the option of a stereo input, mono left or mono right. I'll select stereo and now you can see the audio coming into the iPad. The output that has automatically been chosen by the iPad is the LiveDock stereo out for headphones. I can plug a guitar into the 1/4 inch jack input here and adjust the instrument's gain with these buttons on the side. Notice the gain level indicator move and the instrument signal light up. The guitar, of course, is a mono instrument, and so you're hearing it mostly on the left-hand side. However, there is some spill over to the right-hand channel. With this mono/stereo button here, I can put the guitar equally into both the left and right channels. Interestingly, I get the same effect if I select just the left or just the right channel as the input, just a slightly different balance. If I disable the input for a moment on the iPad, you'll notice that doesn't affect what you're hearing. That's because you're hearing the direct monitoring from the LiveDock Pro. Normally, with an audio interface, it would be possible to switch off direct monitoring and hear an affected sound coming back from the iPad. For instance, if I add Absalon to this channel, which is an immense screaming metal amp, you can hear Absalon, but you can also hear the clean guitar. Synido call this real-time monitoring. That is really not what guitar players want, and I find it surprising that it's been designed this way, because the Baby Brother version does have a direct monitor off switch. So for me, for guitar players, the LiveDock Pro is not a good choice as an audio interface. However, for something like a mono synth that doesn't need effects, or if you're going to add your effects externally, this would work just fine. And actually, there's another use case for this kind of monitoring. I've always found it impossible to record guitars on an Android device. This is because of the horrible latency this particular operating system causes. But if you switch off the monitoring in your digital audio workstation, you only hear yourself playing in real time, and so it makes playing real instruments in time possible on Android. And whilst that means you can't use internal effects and hear them while you're playing, doing it this way, you can't buy third-party plugins to use inside your digital audio workstation on Android anyway. So if you're looking for quality sounds, you're probably going to be using external effects. The same things I've said about the guitar input also apply to the microphone input, which, as far as I can tell, is a mono mini jack input and has its own gain controls on the side of the unit here. This input, of course, doesn't have to be used for a microphone. That's just the typical use case. Sounds coming into the interface will be blended together before the output. It's not quite like having separate channels. This is fine for live streaming, but in a digital audio workstation, this does mean that you can't record two instruments at once and isolate them. This also means that recording the two sides of a stereo input wouldn't really work correctly. Plus, you'd need a rather odd cable to do that. To live stream with the LiveDock Pro, set up all your inputs and volume levels before going live, then press Loopback and go live. Loopback routes any audio your device is receiving or any sounds that it is making into the stream. What you're hearing while streaming is exactly the mix that the viewers will hear. Alright, so I'm going to try and kill two birds with one stone now by recording my Hippie Conclusions as a private live stream on YouTube, which I can then share into this video later on to show you what the audio quality is like whilst live streaming using the LiveDock Pro. Now, this is a phantom power microphone, and no, the LiveDock Pro doesn't have phantom power, but this is plugged into another device which is then routed to a desk and then into the front of the LiveDock Pro, just so I can use my good microphone. So this is where this device really excels. I could take this setup anywhere that I've got good enough internet to live stream, take my iPad and the LiveDock Pro, and I can stream. Right, I could use the Bluetooth, I could use my phone and the Bluetooth functionality to get some music in the background. I could use the spare input to play an instrument, or indeed to plug another microphone in and interview someone if I had anyone to interview. As long as you're getting your sounds before the interface, right? Don't rely on the device that you're streaming on to get you a good guitar sound or whatever. That's not going to work with this interface. So your sounds need to be complete and then going into the front of the interface. And that way it works really well. At this price point, I think it's really, really good. And another way that it will work really well is if you're wanting to make a video of yourself playing an instrument and singing maybe, as long as you remember to press loopback, because if you try and record yourself on a mobile device and you don't have an interface that has loopback on it, whilst you're videoing, it's just going to use the microphone on the device, and that is going to sound pants. But plug the LiveDuck Pro into your device, put loopback on, sing, play your instrument, and it will all go into your video, and it will be really nice quality. Now, as an audio interface, it's not all that really. If you're looking to buy an audio interface and that's all you want, you don't need the live streaming, then don't buy this. If you think of this as an interface that is ideal for mobile live streaming that also has some functionality as an audio interface as a bonus, then it's great. As an audio interface on its own, then no. So overall, I think at the price point it has a lot of great features, and for mobile live streaming I would highly recommend it. I hope this video has been helpful to you. If it has, then please do show me some love, give us a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't done already, ding my bell so that you get notified of future videos. Until my next video, take care of yourself, be kind, be good people, make lots of music, and do try not to piss your pants about. I'll see you later.